News. Take care.
This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. Dramatic and historic developments in Moscow today. Further signs of the momentous change underway in Soviet rule. The developments came at the extraordinary Communist Party conference. It has been extraordinary from the beginning, but today the conference became even more extraordinary. For the first time, at least as far as the outside world knows, top Communist Party figures were actually attacked in public by name. Barry Peterson reports on the historic day in Moscow.
It was unprecedented high drama in a country where public events are usually carefully staged. Those who once agreed with the policy of stagnation, why are they still here, a delegate demanded. Gorbachev interrupted. Are you talking about me or somebody else?
I think
you know, the delegate shot back, and then astonished the conference by naming names of some Politburo members sitting with Gorbachev, among them Andrei Gromyko, Soviet president and former ambassador to the United States. He's too old, the delegate said. The incident broke the cardinal rule not to openly criticize party bosses. And even more surprising, it was shown on Soviet television tonight, something Gorbachev may have wanted.
He's ruining the old way the party was perceived so that he can bring in a new structure, a new place, a new role for the party. It may even be a new kind of party.
At another point in today's free-for-all, also shown on television, magazine editor Vitaly Karotich took the floor to allege a Watergate-style cover-up behind the walls of the Kremlin, charging that 4 delegates to this conference may be guilty of bribery, corruption, charges he said were ignored even by the Central Committee. Maybe, said Karotich, it's because those involved are highly placed party members, so officials simply won't move to indict them. Then he handed his evidence to Gorbachev. Gorbachev was finally forced to go on the attack, pleading for his economic and political reform, still arguing, still insisting, do it my way, we'll make it work. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Moscow.
Drug users at the White House. President Reagan today ordered drug testing for all White House employees, just as the nation's drug abuse crisis hit him close to home. 5 people who worked at the executive mansion have been relieved of their duties as officials investigate the use of illegal drugs. White House correspondent Bill Plant reports on the investigation and Mr. Reagan's reaction.
I'm upset when it's found anywhere.
Though he admitted his concern, President Reagan said he was not surprised that 2 White House secretaries and 3 security guards were implicated in a continuing investigation of illegal drug use.
The investigation goes on, and I think it's just evidence of what we've been saying, and particularly what Nancy has been saying, and that is that this problem, no one is exempt. This problem crosses all kinds of lines.
Still, it was an uncomfortable moment for this administration, which has made the fight against drugs a centerpiece of its policy. Coincidentally, White House staff members will begin receiving notices next week of a long-planned random drug testing program. Today's revelation, said the president, strengthened his belief that testing is necessary.
This is another indication of why compulsory drug testing is not bad. It is, I think, one of the principal answers. But let the people know that we'll do our best to salvage anyone who has been addicted.
The case revealed today was opened several months ago when 2 secretaries at the National Security Council admitted using drugs, though not on the job, and were fired. Like most NSC employees, the 2 had access to classified information. The White House says, though, that there was no breach of security. Sources tell CBS News that the drug use involved cocaine and marijuana, and that one of the women implicated a member of the uniformed Secret Service, officers who guard the White House grounds. Following an investigation, 3 members of the unit have been suspended in the past week. Sources say several others are still under scrutiny. Officials say there is no evidence of any drug use by members of the president's personal Secret Service detail. In the middle of all this, Mr. Reagan got recommendations today from his Drug Policy Board, ideas he'd like to turn into bipartisan legislation. But the Democrats aren't anxious to help the president defuse the issue in this election year, demonstrating that drugs are very much a political as well as a social problem. Bill Plant, CBS News, the White House.
Pentagon officials said today they are now looking into charges by federal prosecutors that documents may have been shredded, evidence destroyed, in the investigation of alleged widespread corruption at the Defense Department. Pentagon correspondent David Martin is following the widening probe.
Dr. Victor Cohen, one of the highest-ranking Pentagon officials under investigation in the bribery scandal, claimed today he doesn't know what the Justice Department is after.
Given you any indication you may be the target of a criminal investigation?
No, sir.
Has your personal home been searched by the FBI?
Yes, sir, just as reported.
The Justice Department appears to be keeping its targets in the dark in order to prevent a cover-up. According to the Justice Department, some evidence already has been destroyed. In papers filed with a federal court in New York, government lawyers said they have become aware of several incidents of destruction of documents. They warned more documents might be destroyed if they are forced to reveal details of the investigation by unsealing affidavits used to obtain search warrants. Some of those search warrants were against Unisys, which won a multi-billion-dollar contract to help build the radar system of the Aegis cruiser. The contract went to Unisys after then-Assistant Navy Secretary Melvin Paisley changed the bidding rules in a way which effectively eliminated the rest of the competition. Members of the House Armed Services Committee were briefed on the scandal today behind closed doors. While the investigation is still in its early phase, one congressman said laws have been broken.
This does not involve ethical activities. This involves criminal activities. People are going to go to jail. It's just that simple.
It could be a year or more before that happens. In the meantime, some members of Congress want the Pentagon to freeze all weapons contracts suspected of being tainted by bribery. But today, the Pentagon said that to declare a freeze now would risk punishing the innocent as well as the guilty. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
Vietnam began to withdraw some of its military forces from Cambodia today. As it did so, Vietnam let the world know what its occupation of Cambodia for the past 10 years has cost, from its viewpoint, a terrible toll in Vietnamese lives. For the Cambodians, as Richard Wagner reports, what lies ahead could be even worse than the Vietnamese occupation.
The departing Vietnamese high command left with neither a bang nor a whimper, but strangely with a blast of rock and roll. Vietnam says it will pull 50,000 troops out of Cambodia by the end of the year and the remaining 50,000 by 1990. The Vietnamese seem to have had little choice in the withdrawal. The Cambodian occupation has drained their economy and tarnished their international image. A ranking Vietnamese general revealed for the first time today his country has lost 55,000 men in Cambodia since 1977, a number almost the same as the total of Americans who died in the Vietnam War. The Vietnamese say the Cambodians can fight their own internal battles from now on. The departure of the Vietnamese is seen by many people here as something of a mixed blessing. An oppressor will be leaving, but the departure may open the way for the return to power of the brutal Khmer Rouge. It was leader Pol Pot in the Khmer Rouge who slaughtered perhaps millions of Cambodians in the 1970s. In this nation's villages now, you see the old and the young. A middle generation was butchered. The people here are well aware that Pol Pot and the heavily armed Khmer Rouge are still a force to fear. The killing fields are not forgotten.
Most of them think that Pol Pot might come back after the Vietnamese withdrawal.
And kill all the people again?
And they will do the same thing as they did during the regime.
The government staged a military show for the media here to cover the withdrawal, but the ancient Soviet tanks, not so cleverly concealed in clouds of smoke, are not likely to overawe the Khmer Rouge. Nor, for that matter, are the ragtag local popular forces, a shower shoe militia. It's possible the withdrawal of the Vietnamese will rekindle Cambodia's civil war, adding to the grief in this country without joy, facing a future which holds little promise. Richard Wagner, CBS News, Phnom Penh.
In Switzerland, rebel Archbishop Marcel Lefebvre did today what he has promised to do. He consecrated 4 bishops to carry on for him, and so he separated himself from the Roman Catholic Church and created the first formal break with the faith at that level in a very long time. Doug Tunnell has our report.
For right-wing renegade Archbishop Marcel Lefebvre, it was the ultimate act of defiance. The moment when a 20-year dispute over 2,000 years of Catholic tradition ignited theological war with the Pope, and the moment when, in the eyes of Rome, Lefebvre's life as a Catholic ended. A bishop cannot be consecrated without the Pope's permission. And so the Vatican says that under canon law, clause 1382, this gesture, the laying on of hands, means the automatic excommunication of Lefebvre and his 4 new bishops. But Lefebvre insists this ceremony is not only justified under canon law, but a matter of life and death for the Church if it is to be saved from the modern world.
Liberalism is a word to sum up the modern kind of poison, which actually is closely connected to Protestantism, liberalism, modernism, socialism, communism, ecumenism, Freemasonry. It's all one great network, masterminded by Satan.
Lefebvre and his traditionalist followers shudder at the sight of the Pope being friendly with other religions and ministering to communists. They believe that in his heart of hearts, the Pope, like them, is also a conservative.
There's a powerful mafia in control in Vatican, which, you know, if a pope really wanted to do things the right way, it's perfectly possible they would assassinate him.
There hasn't been a mass quite like this in over 100 years, and it is probably the most dramatic break with Rome since King Henry VIII left the church in 1537 to start what is known as the Church of England.
The Pope tried one last-ditch attempt to stop Lefebvre. Last night, the Vatican sent him a car and an immediate summons to Rome. Today's ceremony was Lefebvre's defiant reply. Doug Tennell, CBS News, Icon, Switzerland.
And still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, 2 reports on changing times. Correspondent Susan Spencer on a controversial cure for the nursing shortage. And John Blackstone on the aging of the American cowboy.
Oh, look at me back in the 60s, working up a sweat. Oh, and that's how I used to pump iron. Not today. Today we're exercising more and eating less red meat. But red meat is a great source of iron.
Only Kellogg's Bran Flakes has high fiber and 100% of the iron recommended today.
So now I pump a little iron outside and inside. You know, I haven't felt this good since I burned that bathing suit.
Kellogg's Bran Flakes.
We could never sell anything that would not be cost-effective and benefit you, or where it could benefit your business. We would have to show you that. We would never just sell you. I mean, I don't know a small business customer in the world that would just call up and take what anybody offers without saying, okay, show me. Because it is more important for them. Their business depends on it. You don't sell someone for the sake of a sale. You sell someone so that the customer will be satisfied and will continue to do business with us.
Wrong number. Now I'll never get back to sleep.
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
Nitol helps you feel drowsy so you can get your Z's.
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
We love visiting America.
Hot dog, fried chicken, pizza.
But we're glad you have Kaopectate.
Kaopectate.
New maximum strength Kaopectate tablets. Nothing relieves diarrhea and cramps faster.
The diarrhea specialist.
The Supreme Court said today it will decide during its next term whether it is constitutional to impose the death penalty on juveniles, those under 18. The justices stopped just short of making that kind of far-reaching decision yesterday before beginning their summer recess, but they did overturn the death sentence of one murderer who committed his crime when he was 15. The United States Senate is expected to give its approval soon to legislation toughening up the nation's fair housing laws. House passage came last night. And as correspondent Deborah Potter reports now, the bill would outlaw some still legal forms of discrimination.
So it came as a shock, and I was hurt and outraged.
When Diane Betsy was evicted from her 3-bedroom apartment, her landlord gave her only one reason. She had children.
I could not believe that you could displace families because you choose to, regardless of their color. But it happened.
In 34 states, housing discrimination against families with children is perfectly legal. Only 25% of the rental units nationwide have no restrictions against children. But under the new Fair Housing Bill, apartment complexes like the Point that evicted the Betsy's could no longer have adults-only buildings, which are now widely advertised. This one promised no monsters. And many landlords say it's not fair to deny adults a choice.
If someone decides that they want to live without children, they should be able to live without children.
The new law does have an exception. Retirement communities where almost all residents are over 55 could continue to ban children. The measure includes new protections not only for families but also for people with disabilities. They may not be denied housing for that reason alone. And it adds teeth to the current law.
What this bill offers for the first time is assurances to a victim of housing discrimination that the government will provide assistance in vindicating their rights.
Up to now, victims were on their own, and the 20-year-old law banning discrimination on the basis of race and religion has rarely been enforced. The government estimates there are 2 million incidents a year of housing discrimination.
That's an ugly situation. That's a demerit for America. You know, it doesn't speak well, and it sends a very ugly message.
Sponsors of the new law believe it will send a different message, with a promise of government prosecution and the threat of stiffer penalties. They hope the message is clear, that housing discrimination will no longer be tolerated. Deborah Potter, CBS News on Capitol Hill.
The government today said that the United States, already the world's largest debtor nation, widened its foreign debt by $99 billion, or almost 37% last year. The debt burden now stands at $368 billion, more than the combined debts carried by Brazil, Mexico, and Argentina, the third world countries most deeply in debt. This U.S. debt means foreigners now own more of American assets than Americans own abroad. As recently as 1982, the United States was the world's largest creditor nation. But then, among other things, the surplus evaporated in merchandise trade deficits as Americans bought foreign cars, television sets, and stereo equipment.
Listen to your mouth. That's the crunchy texture of a Triscuit. Now that's the delicious whole wheat taste of a Triscuit. Ooh. And that's the unique look of a Triscuit. They're made to take on any topping or no topping at all. Just listen to your mouth. Ah. That's the sound of a happy mouth. Triscuit. Listen to your mouth.
61, 62, 63.
Independent laboratory testing proves that Sargent's new fast-acting flea and tick collars kill 3.5 times more fleas in the first 6 hours than the other leading collar.
I can't keep up.
And Sargent's new fast-acting collar keeps on killing fleas faster for a full 5 months.
Enough already.
So counters who count Sargent's fleas must work 3.5 times faster than counters for the competition.
4.
Sargent's new fast-acting collar.
I hope you're happy. I'm exhausted.
The first time I heard about Docalax was when I was in the hospital 4.5 years ago with the birth of my first child, and my doctor recommended it.
Why is Anne Ruiz so loyal to Docalax laxatives?
When I'm constipated, I feel miserable. Docalax relieves it, within an hour, and it makes me feel a whole lot better. It's very dependable, and it works right on time.
Docalax suppositories can work in 15 minutes to 1 hour. Docalax tablets predictably overnight.
Docalax makes my life a lot easier. It relieves my constipation, which makes me a lot happier person.
And the rains came. When it rained, it poured. In Warden, Kansas today, just south of Lawrence in the drought belt, more than 12 inches of rain fell in about 18 hours. The rain was welcome in Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, the Dakotas, and other parched farm states. But even as 5 feet of water flooded some fields and roads, forcing people out of their homes, the weatherman called it a, quote, temporary interlude and predicted a quick return to hot, dry weather. Just about everyone agrees that there is a major shortage of nurses in this country. By one estimate, that shortage is expected to reach 300,000 by the year 1992. This week, the American Medical Association came up with a plan to try to ease the shortage. But the nurses say this proposed cure may be worse than the ailment. CBS News medical correspondent Susan Spencer explains.
The AMA's latest idea to solve the nursing shortage has outraged the nurses, the very people the AMA claims it's trying to help.
It will not address the nursing shortage except perhaps to make it worse.
They need some help. We need some help for our patients because of the absence of the nurse at the bedside.
So despite opposition from every major nursing organization, the AMA delegates endorsed a pilot program to create a new category of healthcare worker to be at the bedside. a so-called registered care technologist. Neither doctor nor nurse, RCTs would be high school graduates who, after from 2 to 18 months of training, would be licensed by states to assume routine duties of care.
We could tell you right now that if we had 300,000 bedside caregivers, they could be employed tomorrow in this country.
But nurses say not unless the RCTs were taking their jobs, that what they need is people to run errands, do clerical work, perform non-nursing functions, not get in the way.
That is not the kind of care provider that almost anyone in the know believes would be safe for patients.
During the debate, it was clear that doctors are frustrated at the inability to find more nurses.
We've been in the dialogue with various nursing associations for the past 8 or 9 years, and there's been no success in bringing an end to this shortage.
Many solutions have been tried. Nursing associations say give them time. They are working to lure students into the profession. Meanwhile, hospitals have hired overseas, and some offer cash rewards to employees who can recruit other nurses. But the dual problems of job dissatisfaction and low pay have proved stubborn. Hardest hit is the Northeast. New York City needs 15% more nurses than it has.
If it gets worse, if we start getting into situations where that 15% becomes 20%, 25%, we have ourselves a major public health crisis on our hands.
It seems unlikely that registered care technologists will solve it. The nurses predict that the AMA will be hard-pressed to find many hospitals willing to risk alienating much of the staff just to put this plan in place, nursing shortage or not. Susan Spencer, CBS News, Washington.
A U.S. Army colonel described it as the day the men waited more than 170 years for. He was referring to 28 American soldiers killed in the War of 1812. Today, their remains were taken from Canada for reburial in their native soil in this country. The remains were found last year near Fort Erie, Ontario, scene of some of the worst fighting of the War of 1812, the U.S. against Britain. Their new resting place is a national cemetery in central New York State.
Post Fruit and Fiber presents new Cinnamon Apple Crisp, and a Fruit and Fiber cereal fanatic who never forgets our name.
Right, remember. Hey, this is new. Chunks of really crisp apple, cinnamon. It's fruit and...
Post Fruit and Fiber cereal introduces Cinnamon Apple Crisp with crisp, delicious apples, cinnamon, and high-fiber flakes.
Well, no wonder I forgot. This new taste is terrific.
New Cinnamon Apple Crisp Fruit and Fiber. Tastes so good, you forget the fiber.
Excuse me.
No problem. We know about kaopectate too.
Kaopectate actually absorbs the germs that can cause diarrhea.
Kaopectate bags. The diarrhea specialist.
Cash or charge?
We interrupt this purchase for a reminder. The Discover card actually pays you cash back for every charge.
It's perfect. I've got to have it.
It pays to Discover.
Up to $2,000 cash back from Subaru is worth more than the same money from anyone else. It's worth more because Subaru builds a rugged, reliable wagon that's the best-selling import wagon in America. It's worth more because Subaru's XT6 has the same engine design found in a Ferrari or a Porsche. It's worth more because the Subaru Justy is the lowest-priced four-wheel drive passenger car in America. Up to $2,000 cash back on a Subaru is worth more because it's on a Subaru.
The American love affair with the myth and legend of its Old West is celebrated in books and stories and movies and television broadcasts and in song. In the mid-1930s, that love affair was expressed in a melancholy ballad called The Last Roundup. And now John Blackstone reports that something like the last roundup may be at hand for the man many of us wanted to be when we grew up.
All right, Rex. At the rodeo, the American cowboy appears to be thriving. There's no shortage of young men willing to be abused by animals. But ranchers say out on the range, there's a serious shortage of real cowboys.
Hell, we're all getting older and these young kids don't do this. Rodeo cowboy rides his horse about 30 minutes and he's out of the arena and stepping off of him. A range cowboy, he'll start out at daylight and he'll ride probably till dark.
So all-American is the range cowboy that it seems almost unpatriotic that ranchers increasingly recruit Mexicans to do the job.
We train them and find them wherever we can. We've hired some college kids with a degree in animal science, and the first day we got them out here, they really didn't know how to saddle a horse.
Rodeo cowboys are of little use to ranchers, since these days their training is in only one part of the job.
I ride bareback horses, bareback bucking horses.
Unlike the rodeo cowboy, the classic cowboy knows how to do it all. Usually, he learned it all growing up on a ranch.
You're riding every day in the saddle, so sitting out there and sweating, you know.
And you think that's fun?
Yeah, I like it.
Cowboys have got to like it.
A cowboy don't get paid very much money. He's got to work. Some of these big outfits don't pay over $400 or $500 a month.
There ain't a hell of a lot of money in rodeo either, but it's better than ranch work.
Mamas, don't let your babies grow up, be cowboys.
So far, there is no official recognition the cowboy is riding toward the endangered species list.
The Census Bureau doesn't count cowboys, and the Labor Department says as far as it's concerned, a cowboy is just another agricultural worker, like somebody who picks lettuce.
But to see what's happening to the cowboy, just look at the men on this cattle drive.
How old are you, Clint?
73.
70. 75.
Yeah, over the hill gang.
In most cases, their fathers were cowboys. In most cases, their sons are not.
He won't even ride a horse now. It's kind of disheartening. I think we've gotten away from a great American trait.
Cowboys won't disappear, but these days they are more at home in the arena than on the range. For ranchers who still need cowboys, those are discouraging words. John Blackstone, CBS News, Olancha, California.
And that's the CBS Evening News. A short while later tonight, 48 Hours will take you into the world of big city street gangs. Until 48 Hours on Gang Street, tonight at 8, 7 Central Time. Dan Rather, see you then.
Something unexpected will tear Peggy Moore away from her gardening. Pain. Her body's not as limber as it used to be, and even a simple move can slow her down. That's why her next move is to Metaprin. Metaprin has the same medicine as Motrin, and nothing's proven faster for relief of back pain or any kind of pain. It's also gentler to your stomach than aspirin. Metaprin works fast when you haven't got time for the pain.
I stained this last year, and it's fading already. Why?
You didn't protect it with Thompson's Water Seal Stain.
Look at that streaking. Guess I used the wrong stain.
You did. Only Water Seal Stain contains Thompson's Water Seal, a formula that's better than the leading brand at protecting both the color and the wood, and this test shows it.
With Water Seal Stain, the next time won't be for a long time.
Thompson's Water Seal Stain, beauty that lasts at last. Now available at selected paint, hardware, and home center stores.
What's the best kind of fruit? The kind that's fresh, moist, and plump. That's why Sunsweet are my favorite kind of pitted prunes. Moist, plump, and fresh. Sunsweet, because the best prunes are fresh prunes.
Raisin Nut Bran tastes better. Tastes better than Kellogg's, better than Post. It's got juicy nut-covered raisins and big, crisp flakes.
People have a better time around Raisin Nut Bran.
The best tasting Raisin Bran.
Street. The battle to stop Los Angeles gang war violence and vengeance.
We're gonna die after this.
A new 48 Hours tonight.
This is CBS.
Coming up on Eyewitness News, police make an arrest in the Sumner County cattle rustling case, but they are still looking for clues in the related double murder case.
And somebody may end up in the doghouse over bad bookkeeping at the Metro Pound. And how battling the drought can mean a harvest of votes.
Plus, we'll introduce you to some Soviet refuseniks and gifted teenagers after this.
Big is back! Big sun, big save, big splash, big wave, big fee, big fry, big bike, big guy. Good time, great taste.